Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Someone play cartels? Anyone knows cartels? Someone has to play. Who will play cartels? Hands up if you know cartels. Okay, play. Yeah. You play. Jairata Matovo Kunja Bihari Rata Matovo Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalaba Girivaradari Gopi Janabalaba Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jayo Radha Matovo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janvalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janabalaba Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Matava Kunja Bihari Hey Radha Matava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Parikraj, Jikacharashtra Shishimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brindi Ki, Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Nitai Go Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. You guys have to offer your obeisances properly. You know when we do Prema Dwani, you have to actually bow down. Prabhupada wanted everyone to do that. Even you guys. Okay? Not just writing, bow down. Okay? Okay. TK. Jai. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 14, chapter entitled King Chitraketu's Lamentation, text number 44 onwards. Kritadyutirajananti Sapatni Namakam Mahat Supta Eveti Sanchitya Niriksha Vacharad Grihe Kritadyutirajananti Supatni Namakam Mahat Supta Eveti Sanchitya Niriksha Vyacharad Grihe Kritadyutirajananti Supatni Namakam Mahat Supta Eveti Sanchintya Niriksha Vyacharad Grihe
Krita
Mataji's. Kritajuti, Queen Kritajuti. Ajananti, being unaware of. Sapatninam, of her co-wives. Agham, sinful act. Mahat, very great. Suptaha, sleeping. Eva, indeed. Iti, thus. Sanchintya, thinking. Niriksha, looking at. Vyacharat, was walking. Grihe, at home. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Unaware of the poison administered by her co-wives, Queen Kritajuti walked within the house, thinking that her son was sleeping deeply. She did not understand that he was dead. Translation responsively. Unaware of the poison administered by her co-wives, Queen Kritajuti walked within the house, thinking that her son was sleeping deeply. She did not understand that he was dead. Thinking that her child had been, I'll keep reading. Thinking that her child had been sleeping for a long time, Queen Kritajuti, who was certainly very intelligent, ordered the nurse, "My dear friend, please bring my son here." When the maidservant approached the child, who was lying down, and saw his eyes were turned upward, there were no signs of life, all his senses having been stopped, and she could understand that the child was dead. Seeing this, she simply cried, "Now I am doomed," and fell to the ground. In great agitation, the maidservant struck her breast with both hands and cried loudly, in regretful words. Hearing her loud voice, the queen immediately came, and when she approached her son, she saw that he was suddenly dead. In great lamentation, her hair and dress in disarray, the queen fell to the ground unconscious. O King Parikshit, hearing the loud crying, all the inhabitants of the palace became, both men and women, being equally aggrieved, and also began to cry. The queens who had administered the poison also cried pretentiously, knowing full well their offences. When King Chitraketu heard of his son's death from unknown causes, he became almost blind. Because of his great affection for his son, his lamentation grew like a blazing fire. And as he went to see the dead child, he kept slipping and falling on the ground. Surrounded by his ministers and other officers and the learned brahmanas present, the king approached and fell unconscious at the child's feet. His hair and dress scattered. When the king, breathing heavily, regained consciousness, his eyes were tearful, and he could not speak. When the queen saw her husband, King Chitraketu, merged in great lamentation and saw the child dead, saw the dead child, who was the only son in the family, she lamented in various ways. This increased the pain in the cause of the hearts of all the inhabitants of the palace, the ministers and the brahmanas. The garland of flowers decorating the queen's head fell, and her hair scattered. Falling tears melted the collyrium on her eyes and moistened her breasts, which were covered with kumkum powder. As she lamented the loss of her son, her loud crying resembled the sweet sound of a Karari bird. Alas, O Providence, O Creator, you are certainly inexperienced in creation, for during the lifetime of a father, you have caused the death of his son, thus acting in opposition to your creative laws. If you are determined to contradict these laws, you are certainly the enemy of living entities and are never merciful. Purport. This is the way of a conditioned soul. This is the way a conditioned soul condemns the Supreme Creator when he meets reverses. Sometimes he accuses the Supreme Personality of Godhead of being crooked because some people are happy and some are not. Here the Queen blames Supreme Providence for her son's death. Following the creative laws, a father should die first and then his son. If the creative laws are changed according to the whims of Providence, then Providence certainly should not be considered merciful, but must be considered inimical to the created being. Actually, it is not the Creator, but the conditioned soul who is inexperienced. He does not know how the subtle laws of fruitive activity, and without knowledge of these laws of nature, he ignorantly criticizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Gyan Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare. This is a famous pastime in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And before I became a devotee, the first book I received of Prabhupada's books was called Coming Back. And this is one of the main pastimes in coming back. The pastime of Jad Bharata, and then the pastime of Chitraketu, and there's one other pastime that's in there as well. What's the other pastime? They tell three pastimes, and I just can't remember what the third one was, but Ajamil, yeah, very good. Yeah, Ajamil, and then Chitraketu, and Jad Bharata. They're very powerful pastimes. And actually, Jiva Goswami says in the Kali Yuga, the Puranas are more important than the Vedas themselves in Kali Yuga. We're in Kali Yuga now. Kali Yuga ki? You don't like Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga ki? Some of you like it, some of you don't like it. Do you like it or not? You like Kali Yuga or not? Actually, it's the best age. It's actually the best age. The sages asked Vyasadeva, which age is best, Satya, Treta, or Dwapara? And Vyasadeva said Kali is best. Because in Kali, if you take advantage of it, you can go back to Godhead in one lifetime very quickly. 60 years of dedicated service, you can quickly go back to Krishna. You want to go back to Krishna? Then Kali Yuga is good. What's your problem? So Kali Yuga is the best of the ages. Jiva Goswami says, Kali Yuga is so intense, you have to chant sincerely. It forces you to chant sincerely. Because Kali Yuga, there are so many problems. Kaliya dosha nite rajan, asti heko mahan guna. Right? There are so many problems in Kali Yuga. Niti dosha. Niti means the ocean. It's like an ocean of problems in Kali Yuga. Right? There are so many problems in Kali Yuga. What are the problems in Kali Yuga? Any problems? Yeah? What's that? Short-lived. That's a big problem. Very good. Yeah, quoting from the Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam says, we are all short-lived. That's a problem. Yeah? Misguided and lazy. Yeah, very good. They're big problems as well. People are mad, yep. They're misguided, they're lazy. You become old, yeah. What's that? Health is a problem. Yeah, everyone is sick in Kali Yuga. That's true. Everyone has some problem. What is it?
Senses. The senses. Can't control the senses.
Yeah, they can't control the senses. Hard to control the senses. And it says, Vyasadeva says in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, it says, and above all, everyone is always disturbed. Right? Everyone is disturbed in Kali Yuga. Right? And if you're not disturbed, then please just wait around and you will become disturbed. Because Kali Yuga will create situations which will disturb everyone. And if we're not disturbed right now, that just means we're fortunate, that's all. But in due course of time, you will become disturbed. That's the nature of Kali. So Jiva Goswami says, who is making all this noise? Jiva Goswami says, Kali Yuga is very good because it is so intense that it makes you chant sincerely. You have no choice but to chant sincerely. Because Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. So therefore, Kali Yuga is a very good time and place, actually. So within Kali Yuga, the Puranas, the histories, are more important than the Vedas themselves. In other words, the Smriti is more important than the Shruti. The Shruti means the philosophical portion of the Vedas, which is spoken by the Lord himself. But the Smriti means like Smarana. It means those things which are remembered, the pastimes. Like the Puranas are full of pastimes. So why are the Puranas superior in Kali Yuga? Because we tell stories. And within the story, you get the philosophy of the Vedas. Therefore, it is considered to be easier to digest. Just like if I say to you, do you want to hear a good story? Suddenly everyone becomes enthusiastic. Once upon a time, in a galaxy, far, far away. As soon as we say there is something, some pastime, everyone listens. Oh, what will happen next? So the Bhagavatam is full of pastimes. So this particular pastime is very famous and very instructive because the wives, they poisoned Chitraketu's only son. What was the son's name? Harsha? Shoka. What does that mean? Yep. Happiness, yeah. And harsh means? Can everyone agree what it means? Lamentation. Yeah, lamentation. Like that. Harsha shoka. So that the child will give you happiness, but he will give you distress. Hands up. Have you ever had kids? Anyone had kids? Put your hands up. Yeah, some of our kids. Huh? Have you experienced both? Yeah. Happiness and distress. That is the nature of children. That is the nature of the material world. Right? We are children. Did you give your parents happiness and distress? Hands up if you gave your parents happiness and distress. Everyone. Or maybe some people only gave happiness. Or only distress. But that is the nature of the material world. Matra spasha stukunteya shitoshna sukadugada. Everything changes in the material world. Right? If you're happy, you know you will be sad. If your kids are well behaved, you know they're going to be naughty soon. And if your kids are naughty, you know they'll be well behaved soon. Right? That's the nature of the material world. Everything fluctuates. Nothing is permanent in this material world. That is the one thing that is consistent. The one thing consistent about the material world is nothing is permanent. Everything changes. So if you know your life is going well at the moment, then enjoy that, because soon it will not. Right? And if your life is going through difficulty, right, it's okay, because soon that will change as well. That is the nature of the material energy. It will always change. It fluctuates all the time. Right? So in Kali Yuga, these pastimes are very good, because we heard that Maharaj Chitraketu, he had a child, but the Bhagavatam is telling us it's not just his child, every child will give you these problems. The nature of the material energy is that everyone wants to have children. Right? Everyone does the same thing, lifetime after lifetime. You get born, you have kids, right? We go through the 6 stages of life. We are born, we grow, we stay for some time, you have some byproducts, you dwindle, and then you die. 6 stages, right? And how many times have we done this? Hundreds of millions of times. But we think, no, this time it will work. This girl is perfect for me. This is called Maya. This man is perfect for me, and we will have the best kids. It never works. That is the nature of the material energy. So the Bhagavatam is teaching us this. Why? Because we don't belong here in this material world. Srila Prabhupada says, originally we were all Krishna conscious. Jivera Srupa Hoy, Krishnera, Nichadas. Krishnera Tatashta Shakti, Beda, Beda, Prakash. Right? All of us are eternally Krishna's servants. But then we forgot that. And then we came to this material world. And the Bhagavatam teaches us, when you come to the material world, you will suffer. That's the nature of Maya. We all think, oh no, we can make it work. But it is not working. So the Bhagavatam is teaching us this. Therefore, the Bhagavatam says in the very beginning, you have to learn to distinguish between reality and illusion. That which is sat, that which is asat. What does sat mean? Eternal. It is real. What does asat mean? Temporary. It is not real. So you have to learn to discriminate. What is real, what is not real. What is real? What is that? Yeah, but what is real in this world? Right? Devotional service. Devotional service is real. Right? But material activities are not real. They are illusion. So therefore the Bhagavatam is telling us we have to learn to discriminate. Focus on those things which are real. Did anyone come to Julan Yatra last night? Very good. Right? How many people were here? Too many. What did Prabhupada say the first time he walked in this temple room? He said, it is too small. Prabhupada walked in just there, and he looked around, and he said, it is too small. First time he came in. Why? And no one could understand. Prabhupada, what do you mean? Now look, it is too small. The line was going to the car park, the kitchen down the back, just to get in. You had to wait like 1 hour maybe just to come and swing the DDs. And then as soon as you get here, everyone tells you, just swing once. In the spiritual world, you can swing as much as you like. But the material world is limited. So therefore we have to do it like this. But this Julan Yatra festival, this Baladev Purnim festival, this Janmashtami festival, Radhashtami, Vyasa Puja of Srila Prabhupada, these are real. These activities are eternal. But the activities in the material world are not real. So Bhagavatam is teaching us, distinguish between reality and illusion. Put your energy into activities which are real. Stop spending your time sleeping in the lap of the witch called Maya. Stop wasting your time on material activities. They cannot save you from birth and death. So Chitraketu, he is learning, and he's teaching us. You had a kid, you thought it was going to make you happy, and then the child disappeared. And then we see, as the chapter goes on, what does Narada do? Narada Muni comes, and what does he do? Yeah, very good. He comes, Narada comes, and he touches the child, and then the child, the soul, the Atma, the Jiva, enters back into the body comes to life, and he sits up, and he's quite effulgent. And then he looks around, and he says, which mother and father are you? I have had so many mothers and fathers. When I became a Hare Krishna devotee, I came home, I came and visited this temple. And then I went to my house, and then I said to my mother, I am becoming a Hare Krishna. And she said, you cannot do this, what are you doing? Why are you going off, why are you doing this? You have so many things you have to experience in your life. And then she said to me, why don't you listen to your mother? And I said, I've had so many mothers. She didn't like that very much. I said to her, I've had so many mothers. She wasn't very happy. She said, how can you say this? I am your mother. Why don't you listen to me? But this is what transcendental knowledge does to you. Divya Gyan, Hriday Prakashito. Transcendental knowledge ruins your life. It enters your heart, and Hridaya Prakashito, Prakash, means everything becomes illuminated. And then you can see reality. You begin to see reality. Right? And then we say to the family members, this is all temporary. Why don't you come with me and we can all serve Krishna together? So that is the nature of devotional service. It is real, but everything else is false in this material world. So Chitraketu, he learns these things. The Bhagavatam is teaching us this. This material world is temporary. Now, what else do we learn from this pastime? Another thing we learn from this pastime is that this material world is full of envy. Matsara. Bhagavatam says in the very beginning, the Bhagavatam is for those who are near Matsara. Near Matsara means free of envy. Because everyone in the spiritual world, what is the one quality everyone has in common? What is that? They don't have envy. If you're in the material world right now, hands up if you're in the material world. Oh my God. Okay, so everyone who's in the material, why are we in the material world? Because we still have envy in our heart. What does envy mean? Yeah, you want to harm someone, or you think you are better than someone. Sometimes, hands up if you sometimes think you are better than someone else. Very good, everyone is honest. That's good. We should. So that means we're envious. Yeah? Sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I feel, oh, I'm better. I can do that service better than that devotee. Why does that devotee make so many mistakes? Very critical in our minds. We're very critical sometimes. I'm a very critical person. Right? In my mind, things like that, very critically. I'm always looking, that devotee is, why are they doing it like that? They could do it like this. I can do it better than them. Like that. This is critical. I think many of us have this in the material world. I don't think it's just me. I think many of us have this problem. We're too critical. But if you go to the spiritual world, There is no envy. All right? People do not think. You don't think, I am better than everyone else. Gopibatu pada kamalayo dasa dasa anudasa. You think, I am just the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. So when you are free from envy, you can go back to Krishna. But as long as you stay in this material world, or if you are in the material world, it means there's some envy there. Right? It means that we are envious of Krishna. And if we feel envy towards anyone else, that means there's still some envy of Krishna there. That has to be taken away. Then you can go back to the spiritual world. So we see this pastime. When did this pastime happen? Satya Yuga, was it? Does it say that? Who said that? Did they say Satya Yuga? They said that? Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. I don't know if it was Satya Yuga or not. It might have been. Satya Yuga people lived for like 100,000 years. It doesn't sound to me like a Satya Yuga pastime. It could be. It could be. But it sounds to me like it's a bit later maybe. Maybe Treta or Dwapara. So this pastime happened a long time ago. But what does it prove to us? Envy is always there in the material world. Right? Just like the Daksha Jagya. You know the Daksha Jagya? Which canto is that? Which canto is the Daksha Jagya? Yeah, fourth canto. Yeah, beginning of the fourth canto. Right? Yeah, beginning of the fourth canto. First 7 chapters or so. That's the Daksha Jagya. Right? So same thing happened. Daksha was envious of Lord Shiva. That's the very beginning of the universe. Right? It's always been there. It's a problem in this material world. Right? What is our problem? We are envious of others. When you're envious of others, all the other problems come. So Bhagavatam says you have to get rid of envy. So sometimes devotees ask this question, Hare Krishna, how do we get rid of envy? You want the answer? Okay, come back next week. Okay. Any questions or comments? No, I was joking. Okay. How do we get rid of envy? Right? 2 ways which are very effective. One is that you serve others. You serve others. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, we should every day do 5 menial services to the other devotees. So what services can we do? Like I lived in the Brahmachari ashram a number of years ago. So I used to try to do 5 menial services for the devotees between 4:30 in the morning and 8:30 in the morning before I had breakfast. Try and do 5. You can serve the Charanamrita. When the devotees are offering obeisances, you can get the mats for the devotees. You can bring a glass of water for the Bhagavatam speaker. Maybe a couple of others. Maybe pick up the flowers when devotees are offering the flowers for the deity, for Prabhupada. And when the arti is there, you can take around the lamp. So there's 5 services right there. So if you get in the mood of service, then you can give up your envy. Devotees should be competitive to serve each other. We should make a competition. I can serve you more than you can serve me. I will serve you more. And if everyone is in that mood, then envy will disappear. But if we want to sit there and we want to take the service all the time, just like sometimes devotees go up in the prasadam hall and everyone just sits down and they think that everything just will magically be served. No, that's not the consciousness. The consciousness is we should be thinking, I will serve, I will serve. Right? That is spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. The other way to overcome envy, you compare yourself to very advanced devotees. So like when you read the Prabhupada Leelamrita or the Bhagavatam, you hear about very advanced devotees. And by hearing about them and seeing their example, then you also begin to give up your envy. Because you realize, I am not so powerful. Right? If you compare yourself to Prabhupada, then you become humble. Right? And your envy begins to go away. Because you realize, I'm not such a prominent devotee. I didn't do so much. Whatever service you did, it's not so much compared to Prabhupada or to these powerful devotees. So these are ways to give up envy. So these are things that we are learning from this chapter. Right? What have we learned from this chapter? different things we are learning. One is that you will always have shuka and dukkha. Hasha, shoka. You'll always have problems in this world. Right? Next thing, you have to give up envy in this material world. Right? Everyone is always envious in this material world. That is the nature. And then it's very nice that Narada, he brought the child back to life. And then the child was speaking very powerful spiritual knowledge. It's very powerful when a child says spiritual knowledge. Just like all you kids. Sometimes when I'm giving class and then I ask a question and you speak it, it's very powerful. Everyone listens. Oh, children know so much. Like Krishna. When Krishna was only like 5 years old or 7 years old, he derailed the entire Govardhan Puja. They were supposed to be doing Indra Puja. And then Krishna came along. He was just like, hands up if you are 7. Anyone here 7? Yeah, 7 years old. So imagine like this 7-year-old boy comes along and he says, we're not doing Indra Puja. Today we will do Govardhan Puja. Right? And then he begins to speak Shastra. And begins to speak so many, give arguments. Oh no, this is Karma Mimamsha. We should not do like this. And speaking very elegant. And everyone's like, whoa, who's this kid? Krishna was so influential that he changed the entire Jagya. Right? The whole village, right? They stopped their tradition and they began to follow Krishna's example, Krishna's teachings. That's how prominent Krishna was. That's how powerful Krishna was. He's so extraordinary person. Right? And then, the next day, then he's lifting the mountain. You know anyone who can lift a mountain? You know anyone who can lift a cricket bat? Yeah? Who can lift a cricket bat? Anyone, yeah. But can you hold a cricket bat like this for 7 days and 7 nights? You know anyone who can do that? No. And when Krishna was holding the Govardhan hill like this, 7 days, 7 nights, his friends said, Krishna, your arm must be sore. Change arms. And Krishna said, no, it's okay. And they would come and they were massaging his arm. Right? His friends were massaging his arm. Oh, it must be sore. If you hold your arm like that for 1 hour, it becomes sore. Krishna was 7 days. His friends were like massaging. Krishna said, no problem. I'm okay. Mother Yashoda was feeding him sweet rice, kheer. And he's holding, he's taking. He said, very good. She was even putting in his mouth, right? While he was eating like that. So many pastimes. Shri Krishna Chanda Bhagwan ki. So they knew he was extraordinary. Who can do this? Krishna's not an ordinary person. So when he was saying, let's give up this Indra Jagya and we will do Govardhan Puja, then they said, no problem. They said, we will do it. We can do the Govardhan Puja. Everyone was listening to Krishna. So if you want to make your life successful, you have to listen to Krishna. Stop being rebellious. Stop trying to forget Krishna. We all came to this material world to forget Krishna. And how is that working out for us? Not so good. So now we have to surrender to Krishna. So we'll stop here. Any questions, any comments from anyone in the universe? Yes.
How can we remain unaffected from material happiness and distress?
How can we
not be affected? Because in our life, sometimes we get a lot of material happiness, sometimes we get a lot of distress, and it's very difficult to stay aloof of it. Because naturally, something very enjoyable happens, we like to relish it. Even though it's material, but I like to enjoy it.
Yeah.
At the same time, something this stressful happens, then I also feel really anxious. So how to be unaffected?
how to become elevated beyond that?
Yeah, exactly. Like how to be how to
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, as long as we're attached to the material energy, to the material world, then you will suffer. Chanakya says there is no suffering like attachment. And he said there is no freedom or liberation like detachment. So as long as you're attached to this world, then you will suffer because you're identifying with it. Oh, this is good. Like you said, I'm enjoying it. But now, this negative thing happens and now I'm in anxiety. Yeah, because we're attached to the world. But when we understand that we're not a part of this world, and when our consciousness is ekeha kuru nandana, right? Vyavasi yatmika buddhi, when we are fixed on serving Krishna, when our consciousness is fixed on that, then we understand, okay, the happiness and distress, that is peripheral, that is secondary, that is external. Okay, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm distressed, but I'm serving Krishna, that's my main focus. And then we don't become so affected by these things. When I was a brahmachari, the temple sent me to Africa. So we were traveling through Africa, raising money for the temple. We were brahmacharis, so we did that. So I went to hell and I went to heaven in Africa. Because in Africa, one time we went to one island off the coast of Africa. It's called Seychelles. It's like heavenly planets, just beautiful, like tropical paradise place. A beautiful place. So it was like heaven, and we were selling, things to raise money for the temple, and it was very pleasant. The weather is beautiful, nice fruits to eat. We're working very hard, but we weren't distracted by all the heavenly enjoyment. We were just focused on serving Krishna. And then we went to places like Harare and different places, cities in Africa, where there's so much poverty, and people are very desperate, and it's actually dangerous. Like I was walking down the street, and there was many people around me, and then one black man, one African man, who was right in front of me, just very crowded, super crowded. I was just walking down the street, and he's right, and suddenly he just turned around on the spot, and I felt his hands just go all over me, because he's looking. Does he have a wallet? Does he have money? Something like that. And then I was in the middle of the crowd, and I said, "Hey," and then he looked at me and said, "Hey, like this." And I was like, I thought maybe he'd pull out a knife and something, and then he ran away into the crowd. So you're in anxiety when you're in that place. And one of my friends, one devotee, he was held up with a knife, and they stole his wallet and everything. Even more stories than that, I can tell you, where it became even more dangerous. So, we were in heaven and hell, but our consciousness was not so affected because we're just so fixed. We have to sell things to make money to send back to Radha Vallabha. That was our mentality. And we were just fixed. So we should be like that as devotees. And then you don't become so affected. Because, it's happiness and distress, they're always going to come. But we're more concerned with service, bhakti. So you have to raise your consciousness. That's all.
Since I moved out of the ashram, I'm able to go with me. Now you're behind, basically. Now I'm behind.
Yeah.
So, 1 or 2 days a week, you should have some fun.
What's that?
It's only 1 or 2 days a week, you should have some fun.
Yeah.
Go to the beach.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah, sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Of course. When you're in the ashram, then you're very, very focused. But then when you're outside the ashram, then the reason you're outside the ashram is because you need a little bit more freedom and space. So we need to relax. We need recreational time, like that. So whatever you do, whatever your recreation is, go to the beach, or I play tennis. Once a week I go and play tennis with my friend. Like that. So, we have recreational activity. It's good for the mind, the body, so these things are good. These things are necessary. Like that. But we don't become overly distracted by these things. That's all. There's nothing wrong with it. You can make the choice where you just focus 100% on Krishna, but most of us are not on that level. So, you have to have some recreation, some like that. So. It's okay. TK? Okay.
So I heard in the class long time back
Yes, sir.
that if you have envy for even one person, you can't go back to Godhead.
If what?
If you have envy for even one person, one last person, you can't go back to Godhead.
Hmm.
Till you have envy for even one person.
Yeah. I mean, unless Lord Chaitanya overrides the program. You do computers? Yeah, so they have like an override, where it just override everything. So if Lord Chaitanya says, okay, you've got a little bit of envy there, but you've done enough for me, he'll just override it and take you back. Prabhupada said 70%. You just have to get to 70%, which is not so easy. But Prabhupada said 70% is enough. To be honest, I don't think I will get 100% in this life. I'm just being honest. I don't think I will get 100% pure. I don't think I'll get 100% free from envy. I don't think, honestly. But 70% maybe I can do. So if I can get to 70, then Prabhupada and Krishna Lord Chaitanya will look after us. But do your best. Because if you say, I'm just aiming for 70%, then maybe you get 65. Like in your exams. You say, I want 70%, maybe you only get 65. Prabhupada said, shoot for the right wino, which means aim for 100%. And then if you only get 70, then no problem. Okay? Okay. Yep. Why? Because you're asking for material things?
Yeah, we keep on asking the Lord for material desires.
What are you asking for?
For toys.
Oh, toys? So in the morning when you have darshan, and when you're looking at Radhabali, you say, can I please have some toys? Is that what you say? Sometimes. Okay. How old are you? 11, yeah, that's okay. You're just a kid. That's okay. You're a kid. But when you're 18, don't ask for toys. You have to give up your material things as time goes by. You're just a kid, so you don't have to be too, harsh on yourself. You don't have to be too strict on yourself. You're just a kid, have fun. Does Krishna have fun? Yeah, so you're a kid, he likes to see you have fun. Did you like last night, the Julan Yatra? Yeah, it was good fun, right? So then we should have fun. We should come to the temple and we should swing the deities and we have fun. And then, while you swing the deity, you say to Radharani, I would like a new bike. So if that thought comes to your mind, that's not so bad. At least you're asking Radharani, so that's good. You could be asking someone else, that's not good, but you're asking Radharani. So as you get older, then you give up your material desires gradually. It takes time, that's all. So you don't have to be too strict on yourself. But don't ask for too much. Right. And don't get upset if you don't get it either. If Radharani doesn't give you a bite, then don't get upset. Don't get angry. Is it okay? Yeah, it's okay. Any other questions? Yeah, there's one mantra whenever we do jagyas. We offer the jagya and we offer the oblation. We say swaha. And then after we say swaha, we say idam Krishna, idam na mama. This is all for Krishna, nothing is for me. So, as we're just discussing, that's hard to do. Every day of the year, that's hard to do. Nothing for me, everything for Krishna. But at least on Janmashtami, and Radhashtami, and Baladev Purnima, and during the swing fair, at least on the holy days, that should be our consciousness. Idam Krishnaya, idam namama. Everything is for Krishna, nothing is for me. So at least do that. And then you'll see, if you do that, the weeks that follow, you'll be so blissful. And then it will carry on. You'll get momentum. Haridas Thakur says, if you're feeling unenthusiastic in devotional service, hands up if you sometimes you feel unenthusiastic. Right? Yeah, we all do, right? Sometimes your enthusiasm goes down. So Haridas Thakur says, if your enthusiasm goes down, then observe the festival days very nicely, and then your enthusiasm will come back. And it happened to me many times. Sometimes, I felt like it was a bit difficult, a bit struggle, but then I did Janmashtami, I tried to as much as I could, I served Krishna, and then after I felt completely blissful again. One time I was in Perth, and it was just after Janmashtami, and I was feeling so blissful. And then I was distributing books, and one man was walking down the street, and I was looking at him. He's like 50 feet away, but he's coming closer and closer. And then when he got to me, he said, I've never seen anyone so happy. Because I was just after Janmashtami, I was just feeling so blissful. And he said, what have you got? And I said, I've got this nice book. And he just brought the book because he thought, So if you're feeling blissful, then it becomes contagious. So observe the festival very nicely. Give 100% to Krishna, just for one day. Right? And then you'll see, it'll have big effect. Otherwise, we'll give your money back. Okay? TK, Acha. Any other question? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki? Gauranga.
Oh, you're smelling in this part or this part? Put this in your nose, man.
Yeah. What is your question?
What's that?
So, the question was that what are the main places that we should talk about? Because there are so many places.
You have a book or something?
I do.
Show me.